the line. Making it to playoffs in upper brackets and then making it towards the finals is going to be the way to go coming from both of these teams. So
I don't know, man.
They gotta play serious, man.
I mean, I get that they want to play serious, but I'm really curious on what's inside it. We'll hopefully, maybe after the show, I'll have a look at it and I'll let you guys know the next time I'm on.
What
But now,
we can actually take a peek at it.
probably not. It's really low. It's really, really low. But let's have a look. The drafting phase has begun. Match number 2. We have Red Esports on the blue side and Homeboys on the red side. 1-1 instantly banned out.
Yeah, priority on towards the Tamos has been completely ignored from both sides. Red QT, the Tamos actually sneaked all the way to the second phase. So this time, Red Esports, they may consider it again, but this time they are respecting the Eve and they will ban it off. And that is something that Homeboys did first pick in the previous game. Even though Homeboys was just winning the lanes in early stage of the game, they just don't want to take the risk this time again in case they lose out in the middle stage of the game again.
I think this is a very big habit from Red Esports. We've seen them time and time again, and especially, I don't know if Sora Byung is the only one making this call, but I feel like Red Esports, they just ban out the things that they feel are truly overpowered. Eve being one of them. 1-1, an obvious choice here. Homeboys, on the other hand, they're like, yo, let's get rid of this farness. I'm kind of sick. I want to win earlier. I don't want to drag it out to the late game, which is almost guaranteed, but I don't want to have to deal with this nonsense.
Agreed, agreed. I think the Faramis ban is just a safer choice coming from Homeboys. It was so difficult to play in game number 1. But Red Esports this time, do they want to ban the Natalia and then first pick it? Or do they want to just first pick it? Because as of yet, Homeboys played a really, really good Natalia game with Expedia. So this time, Red Esports, do they want to leave it open? Because right now on the screens, you can see they're hovering onto a marksman division. Do they want to ban off another marksman?
I don't think so. Based on the patterns we've seen so far today, I don't think both teams really feel like it's necessary to ban it out. The Valentina, again, a must ban in most situations, and I definitely think the Homeboys should have been the one to do it, or the fact is Red Esports is just unprepared to actually whip out the Valentina. Although, I will say, Ash has played it once before. I'm just going to throw that out there. Homeboys now with a final ban of the first phase.
Let the Natalia slide or ban Tamus. But in this case, there's just so many more options as well. Ling was something they did ban off in the previous game. Do they want to let the Natalia slide or do they want to let the Ling slide? Which one is it? Are they gonna, or are they just going to completely let both slide and then pick either or for their second phase picks for Homeboys?
Personally, I would assume Homeboys is going to. Oh, actually,
okay.
they've taken a
keep
different.
it open.
Yeah, they're taking a different approach. I would have expected them to ban out the Natalia, but I guess they're making a read on Red Esports. Either Red Esports is prepared for this or not. Regardless, they're going to get it if Red Esports lets it go. But focusing down on specifically getting rid of Beatrix does show a little bit of growth in Anip specifically. Because Anip, he's known for picking up either Beatrix and worst comes to worst, Claude or Sun.
True, true. We haven't seen him do too well with the Popo and Koopa, but yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I mean, his clean was pretty
good. His clean was pretty good. But Red Esports looks like they will prioritize on the Julian. Yeah, completely slipped out of mind. First pick Julian, Ling and Natalia out for grabs from Homeboys if they decide to go for it right here, right now.
I don't think it's too bad picking up Natalia early. Question is, what else are they going to go for?
Popo, Koopa as well is pretty good as a safe choice.
Well,
they want to go for it.
Well, I'm thinking if Homeboys go for Natalia, I think Red Esports might just decide to go for Balmon this time. But Homeboys instead, there we go. That's the Claude. And we're also seeing, ooh, Akai getting picked up here as a flex.
Okay, that's a pretty safe pick. Let Red Esports decide in case they get countered. So Homeboys keeping their options a little bit open in case they figure out a way to counter their Ling and Natalia, which is pretty much a deadlock opening pick for Homeboys if they decide to pick it just now. So, alright, playing it safe, I guess. But Red Esports, are they going to pick it? Or are they just going to completely ignore Natalia just completely destroyed their game in the previous game?
I think they need to think about this, right? Natalia is good, but for how long is she going to stay relevant throughout the game? Because if, let's say, Akai is going to be the dedicated jungler, then Natalia will have to focus around making sure that the lanes get ahead. But that gives Homeboys an opportunity to play things like Raphaelia, things that forces them out. But Red Esports, it looks like Carry is going to be the go-to pick, but a Diggy as a counter to just hard CC from the Homeboys. Once again, Red Esports just want to teamfight, and Mal is again, I would say being a little stubborn here, saying I want to play carry and nothing else, and I can respect that to a certain degree.
I have a weird feeling that, I don't know, it's just a sixth sense thing, right? We have talked about how Diggy can potentially be on a mage role. What are the chances that this is a mid Diggy?
I know where you're
rather than
going
a
with.
range?
No, stop. Stop it.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to stop that thought process
okay,
before
fine.
it gets
Julian
worse.
mid, right? Julian mid,
Because
right,
Julian is already available, you never see Diggy mid. There is no real world where Diggy is going to be like, I don't want to die.
I want to see a Diggy mid.
Why? Why do you want to see a Diggy mid?
It's strong. It's cute. It's, you know.
Shh, I don't know what you've been, bro. I don't know what you've been going through.
I like owls, man.
Oh boy, is there a cartoon dedicated for just that? Homeboys.
I mean, he's got glasses, man. We look alike.
You're looking at the wrong people with glasses. You should have been looking up at Natan at some point, man. Come on. Homeboys, on the other hand, Vinz is going to get his signature Lilia pick here, and I think that's totally fine. And especially with the composition that Red Esports has so far, Lilia's going to get some very relevant damage, and most importantly, try to outpush this Julian in the mid lane, unless Red Esports dedicates Diggy to stopping Vinz from doing so.
I think the Diggy pickup is more of a safety net in case they go for the Natale, right? Because once you get silence, it's pretty much really difficult to do anything. But Time Journey allows you to kind of walk out scot-free, or in this case, a get out of jail card. You still get silence, but at least you have this mobility to actually walk out faster. So it's something that may be a little bit of a considering factor from Red Esports, or it's just they like shields. In this case, when it comes to shields, Esmeralda is a pretty good pick for Homeboys to kind of benefit with all the shields coming from Red Esports.
I think the Diggy call is an oversight. Because again, there is an Akai for the side of Homeboys. I think it's just fairly obvious that they want to just, hey, you want to go for those big engagements? I just say no. That saves me a lot of time and effort to think about. Red Esports, they ban out the Selena. Homeboys, on the other hand, ban out the Ling. And I think now we're in a bit of a stalemate here, because now we're in a situation where Red Esports is like, all right, we're running out of junglers here. Lancelot technically is still available, but there's a high chance that Homeboys picks it up for themselves. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. So do they ban it out and really limit down on the jungle pool, or do they let it open in hopes that they can finish their comp with something strong?
It's difficult. It's difficult, right? When we're talking about limiting the pool, like you said as well, this could be a potential jungle Arkai, it could be a tank Arkai. Same can be said for the Julian as well, but we haven't seen a jungle Julian since MSC, so...
That is true. His damage has been ticked down a tick a little bit. Well, I mean, after Oxygen's performance in the last previous game, I think his damages can still be relevant if you build him the right way. Homeboys, on the other hand, now finally finish things off. Ling is banned out, and now they get their first pick in the second phase. Where are they going to lean towards here? Like, Assassins feel so good right now against the composition that Red Esports are showing.
I think they should at least take the Thamos, just to deal with the shields coming from the Diggy, right? Like, at least that they have this Molten Lava who's just doing a lot of damage.
Now you're just grasping at straws. This Esmeralda as well. Oh wait, no,
Esmeralda
is
banned. It's because Esmeralda was banned.
So that's the second best thing that they can go for?
Oh no, Marsha's pretty good. Yeah, we remember how Toda was just banning out Marsha every single game. Marsha's not bad against Thamos.
And especially, well, okay.
It's not that bad.
Okay, thoughts on whether or not Masha is going to go into the EXP lane? Because I feel,
no way.
I feel like it's going to go into the EXP lane. Just the oddest feeling.
Okay, I'm on the same wavelength, but I still remember Expedia, I think, the roaming Masha, right? We're talking about the roaming Masha.
Well,
so
there is the roaming Masha, there's EXP Masha, which we've seen before during MSC. So there's two ways that this could go about.
There's a lot of layers of thinking through these drafts coming from Homeboys, and I'm really surprised by this.
Yeah.
I'm very, very surprised with this.
All right, Red Esports, they go for the safe options here. They're going to go with the Kagura as well as the Cho. They want to make sure that they don't get caught out in their rotations, even when Diggy isn't around, which does mean that Julian is most likely going to be their jungler. Now, Homeboys, on the other hand, they see this. They're like, okay, CC is going to be pretty tough for Akai to actually catch anybody. Do we want to shift our composition a little bit? What's left? Hayabusa, technically an assassin. Lancelot, also a pretty good assassin considering how squishy they are, but they don't want to get kicked.
Well, seems like Homeboys, they go for the final pick. That's going to be the Angela, and yes, we are going to be seeing the XP Marsha. So this is going to be a Marsha versus Cho matchup? Yeah.
Yes.
Masha
yes.
versus Cho matchup.
Masha versus Cho.
And he's a jungle
matchup.
Julian.
And it is a jungle Julian. All right. So now that we've got some confirmations out of the way, what do you think about the compositions? Because I think Homeboys has a very clear win condition, and I think it's slightly better than Red Esports.
Yeah, I definitely like Homeboys more just because of how Angela is able to adapt in so many situations with the hard guards. But as of yet, it's nothing set in stone yet. We are looking forward to see how Red Esports is going to be bouncing back from this game with this Diggy play. And it's going to be a very, very interesting one coming in from both these matchups.
Yep, let's look at these focus players here in our second match between Red Esports versus the Homeboys. Zayed is going up against Chibi, and in the jungle matchup so far, Chibi is 1-0 against Zayed so far. But in this particular matchup, that's where it's going to get really interesting. It's going to be Julian versus an Akai. You don't get to see that very often.
Exactly, but without further ado, we are jumping straight into the final game of today's first day's matchup. This is going to be Red Esports going up against Homeboys, game number 2.
Yep. Immediately you're seeing Expedia looking to get some information and starting his harass very early on, but looks like Julian started on his orange buff instead.
Okay, see, the thing about how Homeboys played this in the previous game, right? They farmed the orange buff, they farmed the purple buff, and they just completely ignored the Little Wanderer. But in Red Esports game perspective, it's very safe to actually play this instead of just contesting a Little Wanderer, knowing that a matchup against Angela is not favorable for Red Esports. So they just play it safe, but somehow Ash stole the Little Wanderer. Oh, okay, who needs a jungler? Okay, alright, I did not expect that at all.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. You would have expected junglers to actually try and prioritize going for an early Little Wanderer. It's just free XP and gold and gets you that little bit of information in the river. But I think at this stage of the game, Homeboys understand that they have to play from mid to late. Expedia getting very, very low here, gets pulled back by the time reversal, but doesn't give away first blood, which is great because Homeboys want to minimize their interaction with Red Esports for as long as possible.
Yep, let's take a look at the emblems real quick coming from both sides. Homeboys, seems like Avarice is going to be installed coming from both Anim as well as Expedia. But at the same time, middle lane, Red Esports, seems like they are going to have a little bit more mid lane pressure compared to the previous game. And they are going to be going a little bit more aggressive from the previous game as well.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, Zayed's been doing a really good job here. Ash still same level with Vin so far, but Zayed, he has to find a kill at some point of time. RenQT is going to start chunking down Sapat as quickly as possible just to make him, pull him into lethal range for Zayed, essentially. But, well, with the River Crab gone, it's going to be a 4v2 so far until backup arrives.
Yep, Homeboys this time going to be securing the turtle for themselves, trying to make a little bit more play. RenQT trying to go for the setup, but the rest of Red Esports is just focused on the top side, making sure that Mao has his farm. And look at this, the blazing duet from Anip to try and keep him alive. The hard guards on top of it all. And Homeboys, they want to fight for more. And
Expedia, whoa.
He cancelled, he tried to go in for the stun. He wanted to try and force the issue. And Vince, he's going to buy enough time. And Ash is going to be able to disengage from this fight. And Expedia, what was that play? That was a risky one, but as of yet, Chibi is going to be stuck, and he might actually die to this, and that is going to be Red Esports getting first blood.
Yep, nicely done coming in from Red Esports. They had a plan in mind. They were sacrificing the turtle, knowing that they can't win that team fight, essentially, and it was going to waste a lot of time, so instead they looked to punish topside, which Homeboys, with a global ult coming in from Expedia to deter them, but I will say that Expedia did get a little hot-headed there, expanding his sprint to try and make that link work. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, it almost happened, but Anip doesn't have the mana. It's going to take a little bit more damage, but as of yet, he's going to be conceding his lane and recall back into base. But however,
nicely done.
Well, Sabat is going to force to go back. He doesn't have enough Fury to regen his health, so that's going to be a little bit more space for Red Esports to work with, but still, Zayed, we haven't seen much action from him yet.
Yeah, Zayed is just power farming right now. He's just playing for the rest of the lanes, and I think Red Esports have kind of doubled down on their win condition of Mal. So they're making sure that he can get as far ahead as possible, and the rest of them just have to play for Peel. So far, no opportunities have presented themselves, and as expected from Homeboys, who have now become a very clinically strong, foundational team.
Agreed. Sabat, however, can't seem to actually push out the lanes. I was expecting a little bit more on this Masha, but RenQT is just marking him on all fronts, and this is kind of annoying to work with. I'm really surprised that this Cho is able to match this traits against Sabat, unless maybe level 8, level 9?
I mean, until Sopa gets about like 2 items, I think that's the only... It also depends on what Ren QT. Is he building damage or is he going to build full tank? And considering that it's Concussive Blast, I'm guessing it's going to be full tank, but we'll see now. As we see Red Esports having to push back, Chibi deters them as well with the heavy blows, pushing them back in as Ane jumps right into the middle of the fight, finds one, gets away with the help of the Angela ult. My goodness. Oh wait, no, Red QT, he finds it once again. Expedia now in trouble, tries to get out of the way, quickly uses his own sprint to run at the speed of light, doesn't get the return trade. Red Esports down 1 member to Homeboys, walking away for free and the turtle.
Yeah, that was the confidence coming from Ani as well. Expedia just knowing that he can get the job done. Meanwhile, Red, whoo, that's gonna be a little bit of a close call. Expedia almost loses his life. However, on the top side, Ani is gonna be in a little bit of trouble as Red Esports got him surrounded. He doesn't have the Blazing Duet, and here comes Ash. He might actually fall, and that's gonna be his downfall as Red Esports gets a big pickup for himself.
Yep, now Chibi, he's here. He responded a little late to it, but he just wants to focus on that farm. Don't break the path that he has set so far. Red Esports now cracking that first tower, trying to break even against the Homeboys once again, similarly to game number 1. Now, looking at the items so far, we're seeing that a lot of the players haven't even really completed their first item, right? Except for Ash right now. He's fairly happy with his Clock of Destiny. He's 5 minutes into the game. He is hitting his timings. Would he like it to be a bit faster? Yes, but he doesn't have Mystery Shop, so it's fair.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult point right now, but Homeboys, they do have a little bit advantage early on, but at the same time, I feel like having the farm up on Anim is going to be the priority from Homeboys. As long as he doesn't die too much, eventually he's going to be able to do some serious AoE damage that kind of offsets the shields that the Time Journey is going to be bringing to the table. Whereas compared to Mao, he's got a lot of obstacles to chunk, right? We talked about how carry is benefiting against tanky compositions. Against Akai, it's strong. But against a Masha with 3 bars of health, that's a complete different story.
Yeah, no, again, I think Mal can get a lot of damage done. Miro now in some trouble here. Expedia's looking to lock him down, but he manages to get out just in time, forcing the sprint out of him, which is great because now Homeboys don't have to worry about Miro for a little bit, and they can try and secure this turtle as soon as possible. Ren QT in position to go for a kick onto Chibi potentially, but Vince taking most of his life down, takes the black shoes away as we see Anip running into the middle of that fight. Immediately, Ash is taken out of existence. Ren QT still looking for an opportunity to get onto Anip, but it's a little too late. The Heart Guard is just way too good. Time Journey bails him out of a tough spot, but Expedia will not let him live long enough to see the light of day. Zion could look to clean this up. He's cutting off their exits. Expedia and Vince working together as one, but Zion finds the enhanced chains on one. Looks for his second. Ren QT, he needs to get back into this fight. He's going to get locked down. Zion can't get into that fight. Ren QT looks for Anip. Anip doesn't have the battle mirror image, and that should be the kill there. Coming in from Julian.
That's a big catch coming from Red Esports in that situation as well. Zai just played really, really well, but you have to give props to his Ren QT because he was the one that threatened Anim so far back to a point that Anim wasn't able to do the damage that he needs to get the job done, and because of that, he was just stranded, and he even found Anim while trying to recall. That's just so unfortunate.
Yeah, you can't really do too much about that, but hey, I think in this particular situation, while Anip is falling behind against Mal, he is killed down and he's died twice. On top of the fact that he has Avarice, he's trying to keep up, right? And I don't think he is fully built just yet, because if it was a fully built, full stacked Claude, that should have done a lot more damage.
Yeah, Sapat trying to make it a little bit brave. Here comes the enhanced chain. Sapat not going to be able to connect in that situation. So that's going to be a wasted one from Red Esports. But Homeboys, they have to play this a little bit safer right now. Chibi can't seem to be able to do too much with the heavy speed just because of the Time Journey just saving Red Esports' life time and time again. And even without a Time Journey, you've got a Kagura can kind of zip out of the situation anytime he wants.
Yeah, so again, it's about that push and pull. It's about timings with their ultimates for the side of Red Esports. I just saw Anip purchasing at the 8-minute, 6-second mark the Golden Staff.
Yeah.
And that means now he's got some form of damage, which is not too bad, but now that Mal has purchased a Winds of Nature, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of emphasis for Vince to actually shut him down. It's going to be difficult. Meanwhile, the Lord Pit is going to be contested as well. RenQT zoning up the boys for Homeboys, but you can see Hot Scott being hovered around. They're trying to make a right play, but Mao is going to get caught out. Wind of Nature and Sprint is going to get him out of the situation, but Ash will also disengage, and Mao manages to proc the light wheel and take down Chibi. RenQT tries to go for the kick, unfortunately has to disengage, and that's going to be Homeboys backing out of that fight.
Yeah, that was a 1-0 in favor of Red Esports. I think that was some really great timing from the Homeboys. However, they didn't have to commit to everything just yet. Mal was already out of that fight, whether they liked it or not. Sapat, he sees this happening, right? He's looking for Emerald, and he's going to get the kill on Emerald. Sapat wants to get one more, but it's the time journey that pulls him back, allowing Mal to kite the way that he wants to. Homeboys now, it's an even playing field, 4 versus 4.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication in Sapat. He could have backed out rather early, but they did buy enough time. They took down Miro, who was out of the equation, but this is a Diggy we're talking about. Even if you die, a relatively low respawn time means that you are going to be in the fight right from the get-go rather than walking back from the base. So this is not actually helpful for Homeboys in this situation right now.
I mean, Miro has got himself together as this emblem, right? So it just makes sense that he's just naturally, if I die, whatever, I lose a couple of stacks, but at the end of the day, I just need to protect my team.
Agreed.
Now Zayed, he just got a Holy Glaive himself. He's looking for those big one-shots onto Anip if he gets a little too close. So again, this game of footsies between the two teams, looking for who is going to make that very first move.
Yeah, this feels like a repeat from game 1, right? Mao was able to get out of all this sticky situation and get damage and value out of it. But as soon as Homeboys does have enough damage to shut him out, things might be a little bit soft here because Red Esports, they are very, very protective of Mao's positioning, and Homeboys, they are getting annoyed by this decision as well.
Oh, good choice by Vince to actually not face check it and to use his Shadow Orbs as a way, as a means to discover whether or not somebody's in the bush. Sapat, however, he's absorbing the damage. He totally doesn't mind, but notice on the opposite side, it's going to be Expedia who is down, giving the full green light for Red Esports to commit to any fight they take. Vince now in trouble, forcing out the black shoes from as RenQT saves his kick. He still has the way of the dragon here, and is going to be too much of a threat for Homeboys to even contest. They back away. RenQT finds the kick onto Anip, but it's too late. It's going to be the Purify that gets him off of this situation. Miro saves his life, and a time reversal to put the final nail in the coffin. Anip, without the help of the Heart Guard, mistimes the engagement.
Oh, beautiful execution, but it's not over yet. Sapat tries to make a play with the Hard Guys. Well, look at him giving chase. He tries to go for a couple of trades, but he's diving towers. He's got 2 bars of hell, but the rest of Red Esports are here to back the mates out. And that's going to be Sapat not going to get any sort of value out of this trade-off.
Can they find a different angle here? I mean, now with the Lord pushing, it's a little tough, but I think Homeboy should be able to get this first defense off with no issues whatsoever. However, Red Esports, this is a very similar position we've seen before, right? If the Homeboys are able to get the right timings and the right tempo to attack Red Esports, this could turn around in a single fight.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very difficult because it's all up to Chibi to set up this big plays, and this Akai hasn't been able to do too much because of this time journey, and it's just frustrating to see that Homeboys, they've got good executions, but what can you do when a time journey just gets you gives you a get out of a jail free card every single time when they try and go for engagements?
Yes, they just have to slow roll it, right? I think Homeboys, most importantly, Chibi needs to look and try to bait these abilities out. And not only that, they have to time, because again, their composition is heavily executional. And as much as Vince wants to try to slow them down, it's tough with the time journey. Now, the AI has predicted that Red Esports is going to take this game away 80% to 20%, but we've seen how it changes its preference for a team once the tables have turned.
True. Anything is possible, but I definitely agree with this prediction compared to the previous one in game number 1, just because of how limited options that Homeboys can actually execute in this situation. Let's take a quick look at the items real quick before we turn things around, because right now we do have the Blade Armor up on RenQT, and Chibi also gonna get caught out. You can see Mao doing some serious damage, but he's left alone. The Wind of Nature comes in, but they take Anip out before he can actually take him out. So that's a big bait catch coming from Red Esports.
Huge catch as the fight continues. They're pressing their advantage. There we go, Zion now finally feeling like he gets to play the game. It takes out Anip as well. Sorry, Chibi under his turret. Nicely done here as Zai continues to wreak havoc into the Homeboys. They might be able to press the advantage here with a wave filled with siege minions. They're going to be cracking open an inhibitor for this. They look for the punish and they find it with a yin-yang overturn on the Sentry Expedia. Now on the run, unable to help. Subot is the last one alive. Mural is on the run. Can he get out? Ren QT saves his life as Ana comes in with a point blank ult. It just does not matter. He does not have the stacks and one more inhibitor to pay for the tax.
Yep, they still manage to clear off the minions. That's going to be A-okay, but Homeboys is in a very, very difficult situation as of yet. And this is going to be tough. Mao has not died yet, and the biggest threat is going to be him. And you can see time and time again, they make the attempt onto his life, but they just can't take him out. There's just so much sustain. There's so much cash potential, and Homeboys is just helpless against this time journey from this Diggy. It's just annoying.
Well, I mean, Homeboys, they can't really do much about the time journey, but they've got to figure out a way to get in and out of fights better. I mean, their best opportunity is right here at the Lord Pit, right?
Yep.
This is where Red Esports is going to be clumped up together, and if they can bait it out, they can essentially trade off, hey, a Luminous Lord or your lives. Which one do you want it to be? Subot immediately on top of Ash. He's already scaled quite well into the game. He's going to chase him down halfway across the world to secure the kill. They get the mage, and now it's a full-on brawl.
What?
They find Anip quickly. The DPS is down as Vince was able to slow down the assault, forced to use his black shoes even. Red Esports and Homeboys trade 1 for 1.
Yo, no freaking way. Vince actually stole the Lord from Red Esports with his Shadow Bomb. That should not have been possible, and that's crazy because once again, Red Esports, they were distracted again because of this place, and this is not the first time that this happened. It's the second time in a row because they had a decision: protect Ash or focus on the Lord. And just right under noses, Vince just gets a free Lord on top of it all, and Zayed, his retribution is gotta be on point. He's gotta be on point.
He's gotta time it well. I think at this point of time, let's not forget that, I mean, Chibi, he is still a level down, so technically Zayed's retribution is slightly bigger, but even then, the damage can be made up very easily if not timed well. Now, top tier 1 does fall into the hands of the Homeboys as they're starting to find their footing once more. Subot needs to make sure he does not die here. It's going to be the Heart Guard being expanded too to ensure his safety. Bottom side is getting shoved in unless somebody's able to make it there in time.
Well, I was expecting Homeboys to get a little bit more value out of the Lord takedown, but considering that it was immediately taken out from inside Red Esports, this is just a little bit unfortunate because they needed that space. They needed that level gap, especially coming from Subot as well as Expedia, because once they hit this level 15s, same goes for Anip, this is where it's going to be even playing grounds for both Homeboys as well as Red Esports. And on top of it all, Homeboys is still 1 item down. So if they can stall this for a good 4 to 5 more minutes, that might be a potential comeback coming from Homeboys, but it's still, like I said, very, very difficult to do so.
I think this is especially prevalent for someone like Vince, right? Because he needs that last item. He needs like a Holy Glaive. He needs something to get his damage through, right? He's got the utility. Now it's about the numbers. And I think Red Esports are starting to realize that this game is going to get a lot harder if they don't end this now before the Homeboys gets to that point. And specifically Vince, who they've been oppressing for a very long time. Now, off that Lord push, as you mentioned earlier, yes, they got a huge amount of EXP to cover up, a little bit of tower damage, but the gold earned is so minuscule.
Yeah, it's just really, really little,
Ooh,
and they need a little bit more out of it. Vince just got his Genius Wand. It is going to do some serious damage, but it's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, Chibi is going to try and bait out spells once again in bait rotation, but seems like the Conceal Blade comes in. He's going to get caught out. Here comes the Heavy Spin to try and buy a little bit more time, but he needs to go for the disengage and save up his immortality. Meanwhile, he is going to be calling off the rest of the members from Homeboys who split pushing up top to back into the base.
Wait, they're trying to catch up Subot. They're cutting off. They're willing to sacrifice this tier 2. They see that Subot is there, and they find it. Rank QT is going to go for the kick, kicks him back into the chains. 2 health bars here. Heart Guard is blocked. He's on his way through. They sacrifice mid-turret at the same time. Homeboys come up on top. Subot, the distraction of the century.
Yeah, he's been a really, really good job at being the distraction for the team, and it's just so annoying because the only one that can do serious damage against him is pretty much Mao, and Subot making sure that he's just trying to make force Red Esports to back out of all this pressure that is putting on towards his members. And is doing a pretty okay job because this next Lord Pit is something that Homeboys needs if they want to keep things alive. And if Red Esports gets it, it might be over for Homeboys.
Yeah, it could be right here, right now. RenQT unable to make too many plays unless he finds a flank. He doesn't have his flicker because he used it earlier, but just look at the wave management right now. Red Esports are starting to get a little sloppy, and Homeboys slowly crawling back with this lead from what used to be 6K down to a 3.9. Now, they're going to coin flip this. Homeboys is asking the question to Red Esports, will you stop us? Come and get us. Don't focus on these waves. You have to answer us right now. But since there is time, Zaid, he's going to clear up that mid wave before rotating back into the fight here as Subpot finds Mal initially, but it doesn't really matter just yet. They're pushing back. Again, the push and pull as they start the engagement. Yin Yang overturn hasn't been used. RenQT goes for the kick, but it really doesn't matter as the time journey's already through. Anim comes in with a blazing duet, chunking out the Lord, falls into the wrong hands. Homeboys is going to be walking away with this one.
Oh, they played this so patient as well. You look at Subpot, he's making sure that he's always marking Mao in all these fights. He doesn't use his second skill unnecessarily unless it's to hit and clap Mao and give him the disarm. So that was a beautiful execution from Homeboys, and they played it perfectly. And I'm not exactly sure what Red Esports was thinking. They were just so hesitant to make a move and all these fights. It's just weird.
Well, I mean, there's just too much on the line. There's so many factors running through their minds, and with this new Lord coming through it 20 minutes into the game, it's not going to be that easy to take it out. Only Mal has the capabilities to chunk it out consistently. The rest of Homeboys will start taking all the gold all across the map. Every camp, every minion, every tower that they can. And Subpot is going to escort the Lord as they can almost guarantee a synchronized push on the second wave. Let's see how Homeboys wants to play it. First, they encapsulate. They surround the enemies. Red Esports forced to go back into their base. They don't want to push out too far and are willing to sacrifice the outer turrets.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one. They managed to save the top inhibitor, but the middle turret is probably going to be gone because the rest of Homeboys, they are going to be trying to make a play, or do they play it safe? Because as of yet, they finally equalize the economy. So that's going to be big items on Subpot, big damage by overspikes from Anim, especially for Expedia, who's super underrated because he also got an Ice Queen once prior to that lot takedown just now on that Angela.
Yep. Now the waves are slowly crashing into each other, and I don't think they have a synchronized wave push just yet. They're saving that mid wave, but they realize that they don't have it just yet. Looking to time it right. They're just stacking. Diggy is just stacking out the auto alarm bombs down mid side, but they do finally catch on to RenQT. He is locked out, but there's no damage coming through. Somebody needs to commit to something. They get it out. The time journey has been used, and this could be an opportunity here. Somebody, he's looking for one. Zaid manages to get out just in time with the iframes, and now we are back to square one. Homeboys turning over and closing the gap between Red Esports in goal.
That was such a close call for him, but if they manage to burn the immortality, that might have been huge for Homeboys. But look at this, it's not over yet because Anim is going to get caught out. Mao, what are you doing on the other side of well? Guess what? He got the kill. That is huge for him because the rest of Red Esports, they're just flying across the map. That was a risky play.
That is a really big feels bad for Anim. Like, he did not need to die there whatsoever. Expedia had the heart guard, but he just believed that he should have been totally fine, but unfortunately he wasn't. And now this means that Red Esports will take the initiative to fight back and to try and develop that gold lead once again.
Oh, very, very difficult situation to be in for both teams with the top side, especially coming in from Red Esports, who's lost the inhibitor. They have to make sure the lanes are pushed because now with the Lord on the top side and Anim 20 seconds on the sidelines, this is the perfect time for Red Esports to punish Homeboys when they're weak, unless they mess up. Yep. But look at this. Look at where Subpot is at the behind.
I mean, RenQT, he's on his way, right? Subpot, he's got the flank, but RenQT is rotating very slowly into the middle of that fight. They're waiting to show positions here. Heartguard has been expanded. Subpot, they know it already. Subpot has revealed himself. They could look to 50-50 here, but Subpot, he's on the run. He wants Ash. He almost takes him out with a single thunderclap here as they run into the middle of the fight. Chibi gets kicked. Unfortunately, it's still a 50-50, and it's Zion who manages to walk away. Expedia is going to lose his life in the middle of that fight, but now Anim manages to rotate just in time. Take out one more. That's all they need. The shutdown on Zayn as he takes his life for Subpot. 60 seconds on the clock, of 4v4 of the century.
Yo, My guy, Ren QT, got the sickest Jikundo to cancel the Blazing Duet. If that did not happen, that would have been it for Red Esports. That was not possible, but he held it patiently. Such micro decision. My goodness, I did not expect that at all. Well done, but it's not over yet because right now with the Wave of the Dragon kicking on Chibi with the heavy spin on top of it all, Anip popping a preemptive Blazing Duet to try and chunk down the Lord and scare off Red Esports. And because of this, Ash, they punish Anip on the sides, they take him out, but their HP is a little bit too low. They're trying to kite the Lord towards an inhibitor, but they will lose another member. It's all up to Vince.
They gotta commit!
It might be over. Now Vince is dropping everything they can on Red Esports to deny this, but Red Esports, they're focusing on the crystal and they take him out, and it's gonna be a 1-1 against Homeboys. Red Esports, what a game.
One hell of a game there. A great turnaround and some beautiful micro-mechanical plays coming out from Red Esports. 1-1 is the score. GG, well played to Red Esports. What a bout.
Oh my goodness, that was a close